On February 7th, Donald Trump issued an executive order to draw up a plan to admit as refugees Afrikaners in South Africa who are victims of unjust racial discrimination, especially because of the recently passed law that allows the government under certain circumstances to seize land without compensation. The order also cuts off all aid to South Africa, and a big reason for that is that it accused Israel, not Hamas, of genocide. What's the reaction in South Africa? In an official statement, the government said the order fails to recognize South Africa's profound and painful history of colonialism and apartheid, and that whites are amongst the most economically privileged. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa bared his teeth in Parliament.
We are, as South Africans, a resilient people, and we will not be bullied. We will stand together as a united nation, and we will speak with one voice.
And of course, South African television found white people who think life is just fine.
Why would you want to go? There hasn't been any really bad taking over of land. The people are carrying on like normal.
There were reportedly thousands of videos from whites mocking their alleged privilege, but I could find only this one.
A day in my life as an oppressed white South African. I wake up in my shelter and my husband brings me coffee because it's too dangerous to go alone. I then need to wash, so I have a dip in our pool which is used for bathing and drinking as we have no running water. Then I sit down to apply for a job I'm not qualified for and cry when I don't get it.
However, a spokesman for the South African Chamber of Commerce in the USA explained that there has been a torrent of inquiries about asylum.
In the first few hours after the news broke and it went live, we received thousands of emails, text messages, WhatsApps, Facebook Messenger messages, and to an extent that our system actually crashed. We couldn't deal with just the sheer volume that was coming through. What we have done is we've subsequently put a link on our website where people can register for information only. It's not to register for benefits or anything to become a refugee. It's just so that we can share information. At this stage, we've had outreaches of over 17,000 South Africans expressing interest in becoming refugees in the United States of America.
It put up this webpage to handle the questions and keep people informed. 1 week after Mr. Trump issued the order, hundreds of whites gathered at the American Embassy in Pretoria to thank the president for recognizing that they are persecuted. Here they are singing Die Stem, the national anthem before black rule. Note the sign, "Make South Africa Great Again." South African blacks were angry. They proudly say, "Make South Africa great again." Greatness to them is apartheid. We cannot coexist with these racist things. Note the 10,000 likes. This was another black's idea of what whites want. Likewise, see what happens when you try to be kind to colonizers who happily watched you be subjugated for ages. Yuck, the fucking audacity. This, however, was perhaps the best sign at the demonstration. Recognize the white nation like Israel was recognized. This is exactly what the United States should do. If whites in South Africa had no choice other than to be slaughtered, as the 3,000 crosses set up in memory of murdered farmers suggest, then by all means, let them come to America. Julius Malema of the Economic Freedom Fighters certainly likes to chant, "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer."
Kill the Boer, the farmer. Kill the Boer, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa. Attention.
However, if South African whites fled the country, the nation would die. It cannot live outside of South Africa. Jan van Riebeck planted the flag in South Africa in 1652, just 45 years after Jamestown in Virginia. In the 1830s, Afrikaners made the Great Trek, 1,000 miles into the near-deserted interior. The Voortrekker Monument is eloquent testimony to their courage and determination. This is the monument at Blood River, where 464 Voortrekkers held off an army of more than 10,000 Zulus after King Dingane, here illustrated from life, betrayed Voortrekker leader Piet Retief and had him and his peace delegation of 70 men slaughtered. This is the Church of the Vow in Pietermaritzburg, which the Boers built in 1841 to fulfill the vow they took before the Battle of Blood River, that if God delivered their enemies into their hands, they would build a house of worship in his honor. Today, it's a museum. And of course, Afrikaners fought not just one war of independence, but two against the mighty British Empire. Perhaps I'm drawn to these men because they remind me so much of my Confederate ancestors and their failed bid for independence from a stronger power. The Boer nation has a language, customs, traditions, and established the most prosperous, successful, and powerful nation in the entire African continent. That nation was betrayed by whites all around the world. These happened to be Germans, who insisted that they turn their country over to blacks. Now, South Africa can barely keep the lights on, and its once magnificent railroads are a looted shambles. Blacks even rip up the rails to sell for scrap. Johannesburg used to have a world-class art museum. Black economic empowerment is the name of a massive nationwide race preferences system that makes ours look like fair play. You can argue that the Afrikaners might now have had a national territory if they'd been more generous in setting up homelands for blacks. These scattered bits were never realistic, and no foreign nation ever recognized them. Donald Trump sure loves Israel, a nation dedicated to the idea of ethnic self-determination. If he were consistent, he would work to help the Afrikaners get the homeland they deserve. They, of course, don't have a powerful lobby. The white tribe has a life or death fight on its hands, and we will have to be its lobby. But at least this president did issue an executive order called Addressing Egregious Actions of the Republic of South Africa. And that is a start.